Thank you, Madam President. It is both an honor and with deep sadness that I bring you eulogies today of four amazing women who were leaders in the Department of Florida. I was blessed to call all four of them my dearest friends. I will try to give each lady her own special recognition, but you need to know how all of our lives were intertwined. These friendships started long before I became part of the group. Jean Mahoney and Jan Croft were friends back in the 1960s. That's when the 11th district was part of the old 9th district. Jean Mahoney. Jean had been a Navy nurse in World War II and was both a Legionnaire and an auxiliary member. She joined the Legion first, but after belonging for a few years, she realized that the auxiliary got the work done. She was proud of her Legion membership, but focused her efforts on the auxiliary. Jean was very smart. She was also vocal about things that mattered. Everybody knew Jean. Jean could quote on both the Legion and the auxiliary, Constitution and bylaws, and Robert's Rules of Orders. She knew and loved our organization. One thing Jean instilled in me was be prepared. Know the issue, the facts, and the rules. I believe that over the past 40 years, she has mentored most of us who have become department president, and I know she has mentored everyone who has served in the 11th district. She was a great teacher. Jean was a department president in 1972-73, and her theme was knowledge plus enthusiasm equal the key to success. She was Southern Division National Vice President in 1985-86, and it was an honor and a thrill for me to serve as Florida's department president during that term. Jean had 9 national committee appointments, plus several call-ins for special appointments, like chairman of the National Resolutions Committee and chairman of the Rules Committee. She taught some of us well. Her favorite programs were Girls State and Leadership. She was on the staff of both Girls State and Girls Nation. Jean was a leadership instructor for more than 25 years, back in the era when leadership schools were all-day events. She always came up with creative visuals to help make things more understandable. She tried to teach us clearly how to communicate and how to convey what we were trying to convey. Jean had 2 daughters and a son and numerous grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren. 5 generations of auxiliary members in the family. In 2018, at the age of 95, Jean attended her 45th National Convention. No longer able to walk in the parade, she was pushed along the route by her granddaughter that she had carried in the parade when the granddaughter was a baby. Jean had more determination than anyone I have known to set a goal and reach it. She proved it even in death when she was hospitalized, but said, "I'm going to live to be 97. She had 2 broken shoulders and would not allow them to start hospice medications for 3 days because she wanted to be sure she reached that birthday. On her birthday, May 9th, 2020, Jean passed away at the age of 97. On a personal note, to show how big her heart was, when my husband Jim passed away in 1986, Jean called me every night for 6 months just to make sure I was okay. I will be forever grateful for her friendship. Jan Croft. Jan was a soft-spoken lady with a warm and friendly smile and an easy laugh. She had a gentle way of getting you to agree to do something you might not have wanted to do, but you did it because Jan asked you to. As an example, I was serving as unit president and attending all district and department meetings, but I had stepped back from serving on the district level. In 2010, we had not elected a district president at our constitutional conference. During the department convention, I was sitting behind Jan and Joanne Maitland, not knowing Jan was trying to talk Joanne into becoming district president. Jan turned around and said to me, with Joanne sitting beside her, "I know Fran will be your parliamentarian if you take president." We both did, as Jan asked. Joanne served 2 years as district president, and I was parliamentarian, and the following year I became district Girl State chairman, and I have been doing both things ever since, because Jan asked. That was 12 years ago, by the way. That's Jan's influence at work. She did not speak on the floor nearly as often as some of us, but when she did, she always made an impact. In 1968-69, the first year the national organization had leadership program, Jan was our department chairman. She held 6 department chairmanships before becoming department president in 1969-70. Jan's theme was be a doer. She had James 1:22 from the Bible in mind, but be doers of the word, not just hearers, when she came up with the theme. However, the creative auxiliary members turned that into a yellow bumblebee for the slogan and theme. In Jan's leadership, the members did become doers of auxiliary programs. Jan had two daughters, one of whom she lived with in North Carolina since 2012. She had grandchildren and great-grandchildren. A member of Boynton Beach Unit 164 for over 60 years, Jan passed away on April 10, 2021, at the age of 95. Around the same time period that Jean and Jan were becoming friends in the mid to late 60s, Marie Mahoney and Elma Zeller, who both belonged to North Miami Beach Unit 257, were becoming good friends. Jean and Marie were both originally from New York, and even though Jean was of Irish descent and Marie of Italian descent, they were often asked if they were related because they were both Mahonies. When I became active in the 11th District in 1973, I had both Jean and Jan as mentors. As luck would have it, they not only were mentors, but they also became dear friends. I did not really get to know Marie and Elma until the early 1980s, but we really clicked. Marie Mahoney served as department president in 1983-84, and I was the department chaplain that year. Marie was petite, and sometimes and somehow on joint trips, I ended up helping her with her luggage. Chaplains do multiple duties. You would have had to know Marie to understand it, but I'll try to paint a picture, and for those of you who knew her, you will see her, I'm sure. She had been an office manager in a large New York life insurance company, and she always dressed in business attire. She had a business attitude, and she wore suits and heels and was dressed to a T, always. Even when she served as department chairman, she never wore just a dress. It always was a suit. She looked like she stepped off the pages of Miss Business magazine and almost always had serious expression. She believed that working the auxiliary programs was important, so you should present yourself like it was. Presenting the auxiliary in a positive light was very important to her. The first time I saw her in something besides a suit was when 4 of us took a campaign trip in the early 1983. Marie was running for president, Mary Lawton for vice president, I was a candidate for chaplain, and Jean Mahoney was promoting the National Guard program. Since we were all from the southern part of the state, we rode together. Marie actually had on slacks and a sweater. She still looked sharp, but it wasn't a suit. And what a great sense of humor she had. It was the first time I ever experienced a sense of humor with Marie. If you knew Marie, you also knew that she very seldom ever saw her smiling or laughing about anything. But she had a great sense of humor. When I got back, I told my husband, Marie is so funny. And he looked at me and said, the Marie Mahoney I know. Just like that. If you were privileged to be part of her inner circle, you found out she had a great sense of humor, and it was wonderful. I wish there was time to share some of our fun experiences. I will tell you, though, that almost every trip home from a meeting somewhere in the department turned into a shopping adventure. She was very knowledgeable about our programs, protocol, and procedures. Marie was very detail-oriented, which made her a perfect person to serve as homecoming chairman for Florida's national president, Helen Gardner, in 1985. Marie later served the Department of Florida as our secretary-treasurer from 1992 to 2003. Marie had a son and daughter and a grandson that was the light of her life. She passed away September 12, 2020, less than a month from turning 89 on October 7th. Alma Zeller. Alma was a perfect example of someone who overcame nerves so that she could serve our great organization with her entire being. Sitting on the podium as department chaplain, I was able to observe her up close. When Alma reported as a chairman, her voice was always strong and clear, and her report interesting. What I didn't know at that time is that she took a deep breath before stepping to the podium. She planted her hands firmly on the edge of the podium, and she began to give her report. Anyone who would be hearing Alma would have no idea she had a fear of public speaking. From her waist down, she shook like this, but you never saw it because she was planted firmly on the top of the podium. And she spoke clearly and strongly. She was a great example for any of you, any of us, who ever had a fear of public speaking on getting you cruise. She was our hospital representative at the Miami VA Hospital for over 15 years, going to the hospital 3 days a week, serving our veterans and the chaplain service. During those years, the VA Hospital Christmas program was a very big program for the American Legion Auxiliary. Alma started shopping right after the first of the year so that she could find the right gift for the hospitalized veterans. Once she found the gift she wanted, she had every one of us going to stores in our area looking to buy the items she had decided on so that there would be enough for all of the patients at the Miami VA Hospital. She stored them all year long in her home until it was time to be delivered at Christmas. Alma served as department president in 1983-84. Her theme was service and pride, our measure of excellence. The year Alma was president, we had a great leadership program. She named a special forces of 9 leadership instructors, 5 of whom were PDPs. We were assigned in teams of 2 or 3 and taught all-day sessions. Members learned programs of officer responsibilities, protocol, communication skills, how to instill enthusiasm, how to dress properly, and much more. The member attendance was always great. Alma was the mother of 2 sons. She had grandchildren and surrogate grandchildren, including the current 14th District President, Stacy Kazama, who had been a junior member. She would be so proud. Alma left this world on July 19, 2019, at the age of 86. The lives of Jan, Jean, Marie, Alma, and I were not just intertwined with Eulogy. We were truly close friends. When my daughter moved to North Miami Beach to work, she lived only 5 minutes from Alma, and Alma had a guest room named Fran's Suite. She gave me a key to her house so I could come and go as I wanted when I went down to visit my daughter. I was there nearly every weekend for 6 months before my daughter's wedding, and Alma was the only person besides Debbie and I to see the dress before the wedding because it hung in that room, Fran's Suite, for weeks. After my grandchildren, Benjamin and Angelina, were born, she had me as a regular house guest for the next 2 years. She became more like a sister than a friend. Not only was I the last to become part of the group, I was the youngest, so Jean called me the baby of the group. The original group also included past department president Beverly Evans and Rita George, who both passed away years ago. And even though the four of us were from Palm Beach County and 3 were from Miami, someone outside the group gave us the name the Miami Machine. That did not mean we agreed on everything, though, because sometimes we had really heavy disagreements on issues, but nothing ever destroyed our friendships. We went to each other's children's weddings, grieved when we had deaths in our families, celebrated birthdays together, and enjoyed being in each other's company. We roomed together, laughed together, and shared other special times. Marie was a great Italian cook, and she had us over every year for a pre-Christmas dinner. Sometimes other PDPs, like Shirley Fraser, were included, but it was always the 5 of us until Jan moved to North Carolina. Unfortunately, those times came to an end when both Alma and Marie came down with Alzheimer's. In their later years, it was hard to see how the disease had affected their minds. Jan Croft, Jean Mahoney, Marie Mahoney, and Alma Zella all served the American Legion Auxiliary with dignity, honor, and enthusiasm. Not only as department presidents, but more importantly as active members of the units they belonged to. They never let their offices they held go to their heads, but always remembered that the principles and programs of the American Legion Auxiliary are what was important. 4 amazing women, auxiliary leaders, and truly dear friends. I love them all, and know they are looking down on us today. May they rest in peace. May I ask the Surgeon Arms and the Assistant Surgeon Arms, Madam President, may I ask the Sergeant Arms and the Assistant Sergeant Arms to escort someone to the podium? Would you please escort past Department President Fran Carlton to the podium? told me I could expound a little bit because her mother said I was the best person with words she knew, and I said that was a great compliment, but I will try not to expand too much on this. Hello, my name is Kathy Mahoney. Jean Mahoney was my mother. My mom loved this organization with all of her heart. Sorry I couldn't be here in person, but I know Fran will represent Mom with her wishes. When Mom lost her past president's pen, she called me in tears and said she was heartbroken. And again, when the pen was found, the tears flowed. But the minute it was found, she told me, Kathy, write this down. And I grabbed my phone. And she hollered at me and put your phone down and write this down. I told her I didn't need paper, I was putting it in my phone. She was never too phone savvy, and she wanted me to know that her pen was supposed to go to Kathy Carlton when she passed away. So today that will happen, and I hope you cherish it as much as she did and pay it forward someday. So, on behalf of Jean Mahoney and her daughter Kathy, it is my honor to pick with Jean's. I have to have a picture for Kathy to prove I did what Jean wanted. Presented it to Jean and saw Jean's odd expression and her tears of joy. There are 5 pictures here, the last one just being the pen and book. Now, something else, don't take back, just leave her down there, please. I have something else that I need to do that was Jean's wish. And before I do this, I'd like to ask the Department Assistant Sergeant Arms Lois Galash to come forward, please. To the podium. Okay, thank you. I'm continuing with Kathy's message. Also something that meant a lot to my mom was her honor book. And she wanted it to go to Navy Veteran Auxiliary Member Lois Galash. So please enjoy and think of Mom and pass it on someday. Thank you all for the love you have shown my mother. I've always said Mom was going to see her other family whenever she was with you amazing ladies. And I did not indulge my president, I just read Kathy's face. Well, first, this comes with other things too. Kathy also included the certificate that was presented to Jean Mahoney. The Quilts of Valor Foundation awarded it to Jean, and this is the certificate that was given to Jean when she got the quilt. President, that concludes my presentation.
And if the sergeant arms will escort the assistants.
The Assistant Sergeant at Arms and Deputy